The NaviPro IT Break, 15 entertaining minutes with our experts on hot topics. They're designed to help you keep up to date on the latest IT trends. Welcome everybody to this 25th edition to our 15-minute IT break, your IT tech rendezvous. This morning, I will have a discussion with Vivienne SUEN, security architect at IBM. Good morning, Vivienne.
Good morning, Pierre.
Vivienne, you chose this topic this morning named Emerging Stronger in the New Normal. Tell me, what is the new normal?
Yes, the new normal. This has been an unprecedented year, unprecedented times, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think now as we kind of round the corner and look at what's going to happen as we emerge from the pandemic, there's three main things that in security we're very concerned about. The first is that we're starting to see this already, that there's an inevitable industry and digital transformation that has to happen. Everyone's got to adapt to what it's going to mean to have suppliers who have to work remotely, a workforce that's working from home, customers who are not coming into your premises anymore. And it's always been a fact that any kind of digital or business transformation is at odds with security. The things you have to do to transform your business, either before or after the pandemic, are inherently insecure. And that's always been a challenge. The second thing that I'm expecting to see is that as everyone is working from home and maybe homeschooling kids or having kids doing online school, we are all leading these intensely converged digital lives. We're all leading our lives online 24/7 in ways that we never expected before. We're shopping more online. We're on social media more. Right now in Quebec, in most areas of Quebec, the only way you can interact with your friends and family is online now. Not to mention the doom scrolling. I don't know what the French word is, but the doom scrolling where you just can't look away from the terrible news on your phone and you stay up way too late following social media. We're all doing that, right? So doing that and having such a larger digital footprint, both at work and at home, broadens the attack surface for everybody. And then the third thing that I expect to see, and I'm feeling this very much myself too, is that in general, the anxiety and uncertainty and the mental health aspect of this for everybody also has a profound effect on cybersecurity. In cybersecurity, we're very concerned about the human factors and the psychological factors behind cyber attacks. One of the reasons that cyber attacks are so successful is because attackers understand human psychology. They know how to bait you. They know how to trick you. They know how to deceive. And in a way, I had a presentation at IBM Think Summit about this a couple of years ago. In a way, cyber attackers are all con men and they use digital tools, but they use a lot of the same psychological tricks and techniques that con artists have used for centuries.
Tell me, that new normal is well understood. Okay. The big problem that we've had with this new normal is that it came as a tidal wave, as a tsunami, right? March 11th, we're fine. March 12th, everybody works from home with the means that you have at home. If you brought your laptop from the office, fine. If you didn't, no way, too bad, you have to work from home. So that new normal that we're living now, if we had to grow into it, would be one easy path, should I say. It's not what happened. So basically, what were the consequences of that overnight new normal that we have to deal with?
I think part of what we've seen, and we all lived through this in the spring, right? There was a really dramatic and really scary shift that had to happen virtually overnight. The good news is that most people, most of the customers and partners and other people that I talk to, we made that shift. It was difficult and it was scary, but we made that shift. And the real challenge, I think, now is understanding that things are not going back to the way they were anytime soon. So how do we adapt? How do we avoid becoming complacent as things start to open up again.
Hmm.
Right now we can't go sit in coffee shops anymore, but eventually we'll be able to. I hope we'll be able to. It's something that I really, really miss. But there's on a very basic level, simple activities like going to a coffee shop and connecting to a public Wi-Fi. That's actually a huge risk for people. And now that I'm working from home and my digital device is also connected to my home network, anything that I inadvertently get on my phone, I can affect my work environment with. Anything that I'm doing on my home network, I'm exposing my work environment to as well.
But you made a comment a couple minutes ago where hackers really use our psyche, our our weaknesses and our behavior. They understand what our next move will be, right?
Hmm.
So growing into this pandemic where everybody was at home, how do you think they used our family behavior to hack us?
Oh, it's incredibly easy to do. But a lot of people, it's a very known thing. There's a lot of people out there who probably still have default passwords on their home networking equipment. Maybe you've
Yeah.
got a VPN and smart tokens and everything for your work devices, but now we're not going into the workplace. And if I have one default password on one employee's Wi-Fi router, that's an exposure. And it might very well be that, maybe every time I connect to work, I'm using a VPN, but I have a spouse who's also working from home. I maybe have kids who are at home doing online school. And if an attacker can get onto my home network, it doesn't get too difficult to figure out that my kid spends a lot of time on these online game forums and has this schedule for soccer practice or hockey practice.
Yeah.
And this is what attackers have done forever. They've put together an information mosaic of little bits of information that individually might not be compromising, but it doesn't get too difficult for somebody to figure out, oh, hey, if I can plant malware in a game forum, because there are adversary groups that specialize in attacking the gaming industry, I might have a way into somebody's home network. Here's a time that this person is likely to be at the arena for their kids' hockey practice and maybe doing work on their phone, not connected to a VPN.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
So they're going to use the sidewalk to get into the house, and once they're into the house, they go to the fridge because the fridge is there, right?
Absolutely. It's all open doors and windows.
Because obviously, as an IT, as a security officer, there's no way that you can restrict usage of a console in the living room or in the basement that the kid uses. It's not your property; it's his property. But he's on the same network, therefore he sees you.
Yeah, the good news is that, as an employer, there are things that you can do. You can look at your mobile device management. You can look for solutions that will give you a frictionless user experience and secure mobile devices.
Hmm.
You can standardize on password managers, and you can make those password managers available to employees to cover their families as well. There's lots of good password managers out there, and you can create family accounts. And I mean, this is something that everybody should be looking at doing if they're not already.
Yeah, that's a good trick. That's a good trick. Um, let's look ahead and be positive. Our
Sure.
new normal now has been no, our normal has been restricted. There'll be some positive coming out of this. There has to be. Now, looking ahead, that the barriers will be removed eventually here in Quebec. We have our 28 days, which are now 45 or whatever they are, as restrictions. Once they say, okay, you can go back to your restaurants, your coffee shops, how do you see this going?
Well, I'm going to be really relieved on a personal level for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that the thing that we'll have to be careful of is complacency, right? And it's hard. I know it's hard because everybody is just so exhausted about being vigilant all the
Hmm.
time. But once we start going back into public places, I mentioned public Wi-Fi a moment ago. That's
Yeah.
actually a huge attack vector. There's a device called a Wi-Fi pineapple, and it's a little networking device. It's about that big. You can get one for less than $100. They're not even difficult to get. People legitimately use them for penetration testing, but they're also used very frequently by adversaries to create fake Wi-Fi networks. So
Okay.
imagine that we can go back into cafes again, and I walk into my Starbucks, and my phone might automatically connect to a Starbucks Wi-Fi, or it might automatically connect to a hotel or an airport Wi-Fi, even though I'm not at the airport. That's what a pineapple does. It's able to pretend to be another Wi-Fi network, and it just goes out to see who's going to automatically connect. And then when you connect to that network, you're not really connected to the Starbucks Wi-Fi. You're connected to that pineapple. Fun fact: the reason it's called a pineapple is because one of the most notorious early uses of this device, they actually hid it inside a literal pineapple
Really?
in a restaurant. Yeah, so that's why it's called a pineapple. With this device, I can trick somebody into either having their phone automatically join by pretending to be, the YUL Wi-Fi or the Marriott Wi-Fi, or I could create a bunch of other new names. I could broadcast my network name as Starbucks 5G, because who doesn't want to be on a 5G network now? And then as soon as somebody joins, you can monitor all of their activity. You see passwords, you see banking information, you see emails, you see whatever they're doing on their phone, and they're none the wiser.
Now, if I'm in the mind of a hacker, because actually we did have one of those coffee breaks with a topic was inside the mind of hacker. I foresee that people will be going to coffee. Well, they want to get out of the house because they're fed up. They'll say, "Hey, I can get out of the house. I have my corporate laptop. Why don't I go to the coffee shop around the corner?" And the hackers will be waiting for me there because they know I will be going there because I'm fed up. That's what they'll expect me to do. And some of these wise guys will have a pineapple sitting out there, or I guess it's really easy to install, and they'll just be waiting
Mhm.
for me.
Oh
Right?
yeah, it's low hanging fruit. These devices can also be remotely controlled, so I don't even have to be anywhere near that
Really?
coffee shop or bar. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Tell me,
So, the best thing you can do is go look at all the Wi-Fi networks that your phone remembers and delete all of them.
yeah, but
Choose to join Wi-Fi. Do not automatically connect to any Wi-Fi network ever.
people don't have that discipline. You, as
No.
a security architect, you do, because I'm constantly reminded by our security officers of how to behave. I do, but probably 99% of people are not aware of this.
Well, that's very true too.
Those are facts.
Yeah, enterprises have had a dependency on the human firewall for a
Yeah,
very long time, and depending on employee alertness and alerting and awareness, we just had Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which I guess is better than not having Cybersecurity Awareness Month. But particularly right now, I really question how much you can put that burden on people and rely on the human firewall. As an enterprise or an enterprise security officer, you need to be looking at behavioral analysis tools. You need
yeah.
to be looking at automation, because everybody's sense of normal is off. Nothing is normal right now. Everybody is anxious and uncertain, and our judgment and perception is off. So don't put that burden on people.
If you had a wish to say how long it will take us to reinvent our normal as a behavior, are we talking weeks, months, or it's going to be changing all over again?
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, my personal opinion, my personal wish would be to go back and have a summer on terraces, because I really missed that.
Yeah,
But that's not going to happen. I think that some of the realities around work from home, I don't think that's ever going to change. I think it's going to be years before we have, 1,000 people conferences again. I think that we all just have to adapt to corporate data and enterprise data being on on people's kitchen tables and in people's living rooms. I think we just have to accept that that's going to be the reality. I don't think we'll ever go back to the workplace in the density that we did before. So, from a security point of view, it means that our understanding of an organizational attack surface has changed probably forever, It means that real-time monitoring and analytics tools are more important than ever. And it also means that if you haven't revised and you're not constantly reviewing your incident response plans as the situations and the guidelines and the restrictions change, and as your business revolves to pivot to however you're going to survive in 2021, right? If you're not exercising that incident response plan and testing those scenarios, then you're missing a huge opportunity.
Well, very, very well named, Vivienne. Well, thank you very much for that 15 minutes. If I were going to take away a message from you, would be, as we were forced to put on a mask 9 months ago, it did not make us happy. Now that new normal of wearing a mask entering into a shop is normal. So our behavior coming from you should be listen to your security officer, and there are people watching you out there just ready to hack you.
Yes, thank you, Pierre. You know, people are resilient and adaptable, and I'm an optimist. I've always been a technology optimist. I believe that we will survive this and we will be stronger, but it's going to be a long road to recovery.
Well, thank you very much, Vivienne. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and we hope to see you soon again at our next IT break. Thanks again.
Okay. Thank you.
You want access to a range of cutting-edge information? Go to our online content area at hub.novipro.com.